Hey guys, Scott here. It's very rare I talk about non-game related things, but I do occasionally talk about Twitch because I stream on Twitch. It's basically my job, and it is very near and dear to my heart. So whenever there's a big discussion about Twitch, I do like covering it, even if it's just for my own sake to talk about it and rant about it. But I do want to go over the whole changes that Twitch is apparently making with branded content guidelines. There's a lot of people freaking out about this, and I genuinely believe this is a massive overreaction, mostly in due to the part that Twitch, like YouTube, words this policy very, very badly. So here's what people think is happening right now. People think that you can no longer have embedded ads on your stream. You can't have banners or logos or anything like that. And that is going to negatively impact people with sponsorships because sponsors are going to be less incentivized to go through that channel now because it's harder for them to get their product across and things like that. That's not what's actually happening. What's actually happening is Twitch is trying to make their policy exactly like YouTube's policy. YouTube's policy is you can't have third-party ads made by the sponsor inside of your actual video. And you might think, well, I've seen so many videos before on YouTube where they're like, hey, blah, blah, blah. But before we get started, today's stream is sponsored by NordVPN. And then they'll show NordVPN with NordVPN, blah, 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 blah. And that's an embedded ad that circumvents YouTube's normal ad system so they don't get paid for it, and you think that's a problem. But people do it on YouTube all the time, so where's the issue? The thing is, that's fine. And on Twitch, that's also going to be fine. What's actually not allowed is the same thing on YouTube where you can't have a ad made by the sponsor just thrown on the screen where you're not involved with it at all. As long as you make the ad yourself, it's always been okay. That's how it's been on YouTube, and Twitch is making their policies, in their words, consistent with the other services. They mean YouTube because that's the thing they actually see as the other streaming platform. That's the main threat. And so that's what's actually happening. Now, to everyone's credit that's shitting on Twitch, they were vague about it. And the thing is, if you go and look at YouTube's terms of service about this, they're also vague about it. They also basically say the same verbiage, which is burned in videos and ads are not allowed in sponsored content and stuff like that. But when you really look into it, it's burned in videos that are made by people that are not you. It's not your content. That's what they actually mean. I don't know why YouTube is so vague about it, and I don't know why Twitch is so vague about it, but that's the actual guideline that's been how all this stuff works. And I can't imagine Twitch is going to do anything different. Now, as a side note before I go further, if Twitch does decide, actually, no, we did mean you can't have any ads whatsoever embedded, you can have nothing, well, yeah, then we got a problem. Then there's a serious discussion to be had, and that's really bad. But I genuinely don't think they're going there. Everything that they've said post this, where they're just trying to make it consistent with other services and things like that, indicates they're just basically trying to do YouTube's already existing policy. And so that's why I don't think there's really much to freak out about here. This whole thing, the whole burned in videos, this is exactly how YouTube words it, and that's why people are freaking out about this, because this is not clear. It doesn't say, you may not insert, it should say you can't insert third-party ads into your video, because that's a very consistent thing just everywhere on the internet. But it does need to clarify, but you can still have your own ads. You can still be sponsored by stuff, and that's totally fine. So they're just trying to match up YouTube here. And basically all these things are just standard stuff that matches YouTube. I see a lot of people freaking about the 3% of screen size thing as well. I'll say this is an obscure one. I don't like it, but also who gives a shit? I don't think people realize how big 3% of your screen is here. It's like this. It's surprisingly big. Basically, just think about a banner you could fit 33 times on your screen, and that's kind of what it's like. It's bigger than you think. So you can still have sponsorships that have the logos and stuff. At the very least, the sponsors might have to shrink their assets by 10% or something super inconsequential. It pretty much does not matter whatsoever. But people are absolutely freaking out about this. They think it's just hugely anti-creator. And let's be real. It's certainly not ProCreator. I'm not going to pretend, this benefits us having a bit more restrictions on specifically the things that we can do. It's certainly not for us. Of course it's for the company. I'm not stupid. But the whole thing is the company has to make money. And yes, obviously Twitch is a very big company and they're owned by Amazon. It doesn't matter how big the company is. If the company is bleeding money, the company doesn't like that. And the options are delete the company, Twitch just goes away, or find ways to generate more revenue so they can be in the green at the very least, or just be neutral. And that's what they're trying to do. So all these people freaking out saying, I'm going to Kick. You're going to go to Kick for better sponsorship relationships? That's not No one, sponsors are not going to touch Kick or Rumble or any of that shit with a 10-foot pole. They're staying way the fuck away from there. So if you're going to Kick, for example, for better sponsor relationships, that's not going to happen. If you're going to YouTube to have a better policy there, it's the same exact policy. You're just moving to the same exact thing. Additionally, Twitch has done better things recently, like the whole channel switch feature, which I'm not sure is live yet, but basically it's going to remove the problem of switching streams and seeing a pre-roll ad. That was a huge complaint people had. So they're making good moves on that and things like that. Twitch has done a lot of bad stuff in the past, but I don't think they deserve... feel like I keep making videos simping for Twitch, which feels gross, but I feel like the reasons that people shit on Twitch, they're so ill-informed so much of the time, and that's what annoys me. If you hate Twitch for, like, inconsistent moderation policies and things that there's evidence for, then I'm all for it. But when people hate Twitch for things that they have not actually done or are even really claiming to do, then it kind of annoys me. Again, asterisk, if they do actually say, never mind, we did really mean you can't have ads anymore, again, fuck this whole video, Twitch can burn, all that good stuff. I just don't think they're doing that. It's just their wording was very unclear, and so I understand the backlash that they're getting because they worded it clear, and then they clarified later that, oh, no, we don't mean like this. This is badly worded, but then everyone just goes, no, you're backpedaling, as if the giant corporate media company made a backpedaling decision after like an hour after tweeting about it. That's not how that works. They design these decisions after a very long time. They can't just go, oh, never mind. That's just not how it works. So I do think that's what they originally meant. They just worded it badly, just like YouTube words it badly if you go look at their TFs. But basically, bottom line, TLDR, the whole thing is Twitch is making their advertising and sponsored content very much similar to how YouTube runs it now, where you cannot use third-party ads and just run them. And this is not going to affect big events or anything like that. Big events like League of Legends tournaments and whatever, they have exclusive deals with Twitch. They don't operate on the same playing field as us. They can basically do whatever they want. Who this might affect, this is probably the only group I think this will actually affect. Small streamers, medium streamers, big streamers, doesn't affect them at all. The absolutely massive companies, stuff like that, doesn't affect them at all. Who this might affect is like medium-sized events. Things like independently run Smash tournaments or something that have a lot of viewers and sponsorship backings, but it's not so simple anymore because they can't just stick a pre-done ad in their video. They can't like run a commercial in their stream like that. So what they'll have to do, they can still be sponsored by those companies. Instead of running the asset they provided, they basically need to run the asset in the background and talk over it. They need to make the ad their own, which is a pretty minor change, but it is more effort for them. So I can see those groups of people being negatively affected in a pretty small way, but it is going to be annoying for that. For basically everybody else, this is not really going to affect you whatsoever. I see people saying it's going to affect the biggest people, which it won't. See, it's going to affect the smallest people. I think the most you'll have to do is just make the logo in your stream a bit smaller. The only thing I think that is a bit unclear with this, and I believe it's following the same thing as YouTube as well, where it's actually okay, but the banner ads directly in their stream. So if you ever, like, I've been sponsored like by, as everyone has on the planet, Raid Shadow Legends. If you are sponsored by them, you do have this little panel in the bottom that basically indicates how many people have signed up through your link. Now, I'm not sure if that means this is not allowed anymore, because YouTube does allow that, and it seems Twitch is just trying to copy their policy. So if they do not allow that type of thing, which this seems to indicate, but is, again, not clear, then that would make them worse than YouTube in that regard, and then I think I would have a minor problem. Again, not a very big deal. You'd still get sponsors from the exact same company, but it would be unnecessary because now they're taking the consistent policy of YouTube and making it worse, which I think would be stupid. So if this is if this is actually what it means, where you cannot have like the little indicator of how many signups to HelloFresh you've got or whatever, then I think that could be annoying. And that's probably the only real complaint I do have with this, because it seems just unnecessary. But everything else is just making making it like YouTube. So it's not nearly as bad as people are saying it is. And that's mostly in fault to Twitch for wording it very unclearly, just like YouTube does. So basically, that's what's going on. I just want to talk about it. That's it. Thanks for watching.